Welcome back. So peace be unto you. Actually, I'm quite excited about this third video in this series. It's still the basic level 103 as I call it, but it has a nice numerical pattern to this in the sense that, the claims are quite, it's simple in nature. It's not a very long video, but I'd like to, make you feel excited about this because this is really an easy one to follow because of the way it's talking about the first, second, and third revelation. So there's got to be a pattern there. There's got to be a sequence. So let's get into it. And the cadence usually here is I'll present it a couple of slides and then we'll go straight into the SQL to actually look at the data, do the analysis there. So away we go. Right, so just a quick update and just a refresher from last time. If you don't know what SQL is, it's basically structured query language. And it's a standard language. You have Microsoft SQL Server, you have MySQL, all these databases. There's an SQL element to it, which is basically the language that allows you in a syntactic way, you use it to select data, group data, and do all that analysis. My approach is really no smoke and mirrors. This is not about any trickery. I don't put a summary video up and let people just see the numbers, but we actually go into the data and we look at what the claim is, then we verify it. So what is the claim? So this is to do with the first three revelations. This is not opposed to the first three chapters. This is about the revelation order. What order did the prophet get the revelation? Obviously the first night he got a very short 5-verse revelation, and it's quite well known. Then the second revelation happened and the third revelation. So these three claims are about this sequence, the first three revelations. And if there are any bonus patterns that we think that is quite relevant to it, or something that comes up because as I'm working through the findings and there's something that does come up, and I'll talk about who's making these claims in the when we get into the SQL. We'll have a read about the person who's making the claim. Now, if you haven't seen my database setup video, which basically is really all of this is the foundations laid in that video to see and understand what the database structure is, the schema is. And in software database terminology, we call it entity relationship diagram. So that video is on my channel. If you are unsure about what I'm doing, please go ahead and have a look at that. Now, the positioning the three claims. The three claims are made in the book by Dr. Rashad Khalifa, PhD from Arizona, USA. It's called Quran, the Visual Presentation. Made quite a lot of waves back in the day when he wrote it. Now, the three claims are: the first revelation consists of 19 words. So that 19 being a multiple of 1. That 19 is divisible by itself 1 times. And then the second revelation consists of 19 by 2 words, which is 38 words, right? You can see the pattern here. First, 19 is 1 lot. Second, 19 is 2 lot. And the third revelation consists of 19 by 3 words. So again, 19 by 3 is 57. So it's gone in that order: 19, 38, 57. And if there are any bonus findings, we'll have a look at that. Okay, so straight away, this is the we'll go and look at these first three revelations. We're going across to database Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so in here I've already got my pre-prepared. Obviously, I've done all my analysis and whatnot on the database, and I've written the query. So I've taken a meaningful approach to what the claim is, and then I've written a relevant SQL to exercise that claim. So the first claim is the first Quranic revelation consists of 19 words. Now, if you've seen one of my other videos where we actually just look entirely upon the first Quranic revelation, we've already covered it there. But I guess in regard to this video as a collection of first, second, and third revelation, let's have a look. So we already know that first revelation revealed chapter was chapter 96, and the first revealed verses were the first 5 verses only. Now 19, why 19? I'll do a video on that. 19 itself is divisible by 19 one time, so it's a multiple of itself and 1, which makes it a prime number. And also 19 is an odd number, and precisely the 7th odd prime. I know 2 is also a prime number. I probably left it out on my videos, but I meant that the 7th odd prime is actually 19. So 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7th odd prime is 19. And 19 and 7 are special numbers in the Quran, is what the numerology is showing. 19 obviously is multiplied by 6 and you get 114, which is the number of chapters. So where does this claim come from? I'll just reduce this down a little bit. It comes from page 11. It's called Physical Fact 3 in the book by Dr. Rashad Khalifa. Now, what we're going to do here, like I said, no smoke and mirrors. We're going to go straight into the database and look at our Q database. Now, what I'm doing here, I'll try and explain. Running a select statement, which is choose all the rows, star meaning all the rows from the chapters table where the chapter number is 96. So we're trying to get a information about the chapter 96 from the chapters table. So it'd be a very simple query if I run it. So I press the, oops, then I'll select it. Let's select it and run it. Just go that way. Use Q because I haven't switched my database yet. Okay, now I can see it's switched over to the Q database, and it's run and return as expected. So there's a results set and a messages tab. One row has been affected, which is basically the row that has been returned to us, the data, and you can see it's talking about chapter 96, Al-Alaq, and the various attributes there. Now you can see it has a verse count of 19 and whatnot. So what we'll do is, that's just a metadata check. We want to know, what's the claim again? The first Quranic revelation consists of 19 words. Okay, so down here we're doing a query on the verses table. All right. By the way, just in here, if you look across, you can see all of the attributes of the chapter. But we're going to the verses table now. From that table, we're going to only select chapter 96 and the first 5 verses only, right? Let's run that query. I'm doing some sums up here, which is sum all the word count of these verses, and also do another field which is dividing that same word count by 19 to see 19.0 to see if we get an exactly divisible number, if we get a fraction or not. Run it, and it is true that chapter 19 has 19 words, and obviously 19 is divisible by itself exactly 1 time. Now let's just verify that another way. So this time we're looking at the verses table again, but we're not relying on that aggregate field. We're actually doing some user defined functions to calculate the words in the Arabic text and also the transliterated text. We're going to run that, and that query is slightly different. Returns exactly the same result. So chapter 96 does have 19 Arabic words, and the equivalent in English is also 19. Now the next one is about, let's review the actual row records count by actual verses. These are the first 5. So let's have a look at what the data in terms of the actual verses look like. You can see the famous proclaim or recite or read in the name of your Lord and Cherisher who created you. That's the Iqra verse. So you can see the first 5 verses right there, and that's more detail about the verses there, and you can see the count of each of those words. And if you add these up, 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, get 9, 12, 15, 19. So you get 19. Prove the point, run it. This time we're doing a count from the word count table, which is one of the aggregate tables that we have for the that I've got. So far we have basically proven that the first part is true. The first Quranic revelation does contain 19 words. Let's go to the second one. So the second claim is the second Quranic revelation consists of 38, which is 19 times 2. So now first revelation is 19, second revelation is 19 by 2, which is an interesting pattern. Okay, the second revelation is the first 9 verses of chapter 68, the pen Al-Qalam. So we'll look at that. Very similar sort of approach. Let's go and run this. And you can see what I've done. We do get 38, and we do get the fact that it is divisible by 19 twice. So what are we doing? We're doing a similar thing. We're going to the verses table, and we're going to get chapter and sum the word count and divide that by 19 to get that div 19 figure, and we're going to limit it to chapter 68 first 9 verses. So this is what this is saying, where chapter number is equal to 68 and verse number in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see I've just listed that down, and if we run that, that is that result we get. Chapter 68 has 38 words. It is divisible by 19, exactly 2. So another way to look at it is if we use the user-defined functions, which calculate the words given in Arabic text in the English transliterated form, we should be getting similar sort of numbers. You can see we again get 38 and 38 both for the English and the Arabic words. Cross check. Now thirdly, we're going to look at all the verses just to kind of get a sense of it. Okay, you can see those are the 9 verses of 68, and here are the actual verse by verse word count, and they exactly match English and the Arabic, and that's what that total is. So let me run another way. Let's do it on a word count table this time, which is my aggregate table, and once again we are going to limit it to chapter 68. We are also going to limit it to the first 9 verses of chapter 68. Let's run that. We'll be getting 38. We did get 38. So that's pretty much a number of different ways to come to the same answer, which is proving the claim that the second revelation, which is verses 1 to 9 of chapter 68, are in fact 38, which is 19 times 2. Now, the pattern's solid so far. Third pattern is obviously look at the third revelation, and the third revelation should be, according to this claim, made up of 3 times 19 words. So what is the third revelation? It's the first 10 verses of chapter 73, Al-Muzammil. The cloaked one, I think, is the translation. Once again, same sort of approach. It's to do with fact number 11, physical fact number 11 on page 23 of Dr. Rashad's book. Okay, this time we're looking at chapter 73. Let's just have a look at a quick metadata. So it is chapter Al-Muzammil, and it's got all these attributes about it. Right, that's just a quick view of the chapter row. Why is this? Okay. Now, next query we're going to run is again very simple, or we're basically going down to the verses table and limiting it to chapter 73 verses 1 to 10, and we're doing some sums. This time we're doing the sum of the word counts, and the same sum again, but we're dividing it by 19.0 to see that divisible number. Run that. Okay, what we get is chapter 73 has 57 words, and it's divisible exactly by 3. So far, it's actually proving what the claim is. Let's do it another way. This time we're going to run the query on the verse table, but instead of using that aggregate function, we're going to actually do a user-defined function, which basically works out, given an Arabic text of words, it'll work out how many words in there, and then the similar call using the English equivalent. So we should be looking at 38 in here as well. 57, sorry. We actually do get 57. 3 times 19. Now, previously we got 57, which is 3 times that. This time we're using a different method. We still get 57, both for the Arabic words and the English words, equivalent English words. Now, the other way to do it is, let's just give a little bit of a more detailed presentation of what those verses are. You can see if I go over to here, 10 rows, which means 10 verses, but then there's lots of words. This is what the claim is all about, counting the words. Now let's use a third method to do that accounting, and it's this time we're going to limit again to chapter 73 verses 1 to 10, but we will this time count the words in the word count table. Okay, and guess what, we get 57. So pretty much if I run it all together, you can see very much in the last 57 is just jumping up at us, okay, which is basically 3 times 19. Now there was something interesting that came up. So those are the 3 tests done, and they do stand the test of what the claim is. While I was doing this, I had some numbers that started to come up, and I thought I'll just do a check. What happened is there's a bonus claim here. This is not claimed in the book, but I found that the total of first 3 Quranic revelation consists of 19 by n words and 19 by n characters. So 19 by n words we do know, but 19 by n characters is another interesting one. So those same three revelations, same 3, 96, 68, 73, different verse numbers. These are the revelations, those 3 revelations. So what are we doing? I'm going to the word count table and literally getting the word counts for these chapters and those verses, the first 3, and grouping them together and running the query to show you what I mean. What did I find? So you can see we already know that 19 was the first revelation, 38 was the other one, 57. That's a pattern there for word count. But characters also, 76, 235, 164. Now that we know that, you can put that in a calculator and work it out. But it actually, and I'm going to do it again so you can see. So 114 was the total number of words. Obviously, it's divisible by 19 6 times. The characters also added to be 475, which is divisible by 19 exactly 25. Now that's interesting. Also, just to note, 114 is also a number that is quite strong in the Quran, which is obviously the number of chapters. So here we've got quite an interesting concept that the word count for the first 3 revelations is divisible by 19. The characters in those first 3 revelations, the number of characters, letters, alphabets, they are 475 in total, and it also is divisible by 19. I think that's quite an interesting finding. So this time all we'll do, resize it so we can see more of the query. So let's redo the word count using user-defined function and verses. So I'm just to prove the concept, remember those numbers 114 and 475, right? For word count and char count. I'm going to run that query on using a different methodology, the user-defined functions to calculate the word counts. And there you go. Word count is 114. That shouldn't be a surprise because we've already done that. Another way to do it is to run it like that, which is I'm joining it to the word count table, and then I'm also summing it up. So that's another way. And then for the characters, I'm doing a sum on the Arabic characters. I could do the same on the English, matching English ones. But I'm working on that wonderful aggregate char count table, which is all my aggregate character counts are. And I'm running a query to limit again 96, chapter 96, those first 5 verses, chapter 68, first 9 verses, and chapter 73, the first 10 verses. And I'm doing a sum of that and then doing a div as well. And guess what? It also is, this is again proving, we've already proved it. I'm just doing a number of other ways to show that this is not a fluke, or no errors in here. It's cross-checking it. 475 characters in those revelations, and it's divisible exactly by 25. That's an interesting find. And finally, just so that you can see, those, what the counts are based on, are basically chapter 68 and chapter 73 and chapter 96, right? Those 3 chapters. Like any word, let's pick one. Ism, you can see ISM, alif, sin, mim. It is exactly 3 characters and all that, right? So it's not fiddling around. It's actually counting the characters within each of these words, and that's the 475 in total that we get. So that's the queries done. I mean, the 3 claims clearly are proven. Going back to our usual cadence to wrap up the video, we'll look at, we have done the queries in demonstration mode. Now, did we prove it? Apologies for the title there. That should be talking about the first 3 revelations. The first revelation consists of 19 words, ticked. Second revelation, 19 by 2, ticked. Third revelation consists of 19 by 3 words, tick. So all 3 of those passed. The bonus one was about the first 3 together consist of, obviously, if they're divisible by 19 by individually, they'll also be divisible. But the bonus point here is that the characters, when they came to 475, are also divisible by 19, and also just a representation, the 114 is the number of chapters in the Quran, which is itself divisible by 19. So it's a very interesting find. In conclusion, wrapping the video up, all 3 claims are verified, that the first 3 revelations are in fact have these number 19 encoding, and we found an extra bonus pattern. Now, what's next? So the next video, I want to do something a little bit different. We did some revelations, first, second, third revelation separately, and then collectively. Next one, I want to do a video on this mysterious Quranic initials, these huruf al-muqattat, as I believe what they call them, the disjointed initials that are present in 26 of the 114 chapters in the Quran. If you haven't seen my video on the database setup, there is a video 000 is on my channel. If you can please watch it, it'll explain what the database setup is. But I think now you're trying to get, you kind of get a sense of what the database structure is, hopefully. Now, if you are new to my channel, haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I want to get some subscribers, and I want you to have the latest videos once I put them out there. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have got any feedback or any questions, any suggestions, anything, positive, negative, as long as it's respectful and considerate, I'm happy to listen. We're all here to learn. I'm here to learn as well. My channel is I Reason, Therefore I Am. That's it for today. Peace be unto you. Thank you.